So it's an interesting experience being a female shonen fan. You know, especially when most of the main female characters are weak, embarrassing, or just an absolute joke. Honestly, it always feels like it's either one thing or another. Like, if the character isn't weak, then there's gonna be a massive amount of fan service. And if there isn't a massive amount of fan service, the character is going to be a damsel in distress and is not actually going to be able to do anything. And most of the time, even if a female character is strong, they still end up being the damsel in distress. And then sometimes it's all of them compiled into one. Honestly, at this point, I see it more of just terrible story writing. If the only way that you can get your main male lead to do anything is to have the main female lead get kidnapped, then I just think that's bad writing. It's so cliche. Can you not think of another way to get your story going? No matter what it is, if a problem is started in the same way every time, it just starts to get predictable. It is so boring to watch an anime where the problems are always caused by the main female lead in one way or another, because you automatically know what's going to happen when the main female lead walks off on their own. Like, you're just asking to get kidnapped or killed or something. It's always something like that, because God forbid that the female lead's actually competent and actually, you know, checks before, like, walking into a dark alleyway by herself in the middle of the night because the plot has to happen. And I've never actually got the fan service jokes. Like, I know it's not for me, but, like, I've never seen someone find a fan service joke funny to where I don't even know if they're supposed to be jokes. I don't even know really what they are. They don't really work for anything. So I don't know what you're going for, because I've genuinely never seen a single person find those types of jokes funny. Ever. So I don't know who they're made for, or if it's just something for the creator themselves to laugh at. I don't really even get the point. I guess just they have to fill up space somehow because they can't actually make a good enough story to be compelling, so they have to draw your attention back in some other way. I can't think of another reason why they'd have that in there. You notice how actually good stories don't have problems with the main female cast, and, you know, their stories can actually happen without some sort of plot contrivance or something that completely breaks the tone of the story because they wanted to have a horrible joke. I don't really think that it's as much as they can't write female characters a lot of the time. I think it's more like they can't write in general. That's what I've learned, is that normally when I see problems, like with characters and how situations are handled and poorly timed jokes with just honestly poor subject matter, is normally just the creator's just a bad writer and they don't know how to make a story. It's more of a symptom of a bigger issue a lot of the time, like they never learned how to write. So they just keep going back to the same joke over and over and over again, hoping it's going to keep your attention because they don't have enough confidence in their own writing to actually keep you entertained. Because I think a lot of people understand how annoying it is when you're watching a show, just trying to enjoy a normal show, and then some fan service moment completely ruins the entire scene and the tone. And I honestly stopped to wonder, did the author ever have someone like read their work before they put it out? Or is everybody just signing off on these types of jokes despite how badly it ruins the tone? Because I honestly feel like it's something that the author came up with at 3 a.m. that they thought was funny, like Tamaki's whole thing, but they don't wake up the next morning and realize that what they created that they thought was funny was actually stupid. Like, they never woke up. Because honestly, some of the stuff I've seen put in shows, I do not know how you got that from paper to the finished product without thinking once of does this work or is this necessary? Because if there's one thing worse than fan service, it's fan service that completely ruins the tone. Because I've definitely had it, not just in Fire Force, like in Fairy Tail 2, where there's just been an atrocious amount of fan service, and then I don't actually know what I'm supposed to take seriously. Like during the Grand Magic games, when Lucy fought the red-haired girl, and it was supposed to be like all intense and stuff, and I was just laughing the whole time because the episode previous was like a swimsuit contest for some reason, and I didn't understand the tone. I thought the battle was supposed to be a joke because the tonal whiplash, I didn't know what I was supposed to be feeling. I was just laughing confused. I didn't even know what I was supposed to say. I mean, all I knew, the red-haired girl's clothes were gonna fly off and there was gonna be some joke about her boobs being too big. I don't know. That's what normally happens. How was I supposed to know it was actually supposed to be taken seriously? Okay, maybe I'm expecting too much, but you think when you have a character that you have to completely change the way you're writing to accompany them, and you have to like break your train of thought, that you shouldn't even include that character? And what I mean is, there's no way that when the creator of Fire Force was writing it, that they could go from an intense fight scene to writing Tamaki and not get some sort of whiplash where they get completely broken out of being able to write properly. Because there's no way that you can switch from intense to absolute stupidity that quickly and not get completely knocked out of what you're doing. The thing is, I never understood why Tamaki was ever brought along to begin with. It absolutely mind-boggled me. Not even with the fan service, because she couldn't do anything. She was the weakest member by far. She was weaker than Iris, who's a priest. Iris isn't even a fighter, and Tamaki can't even outperform her. Why was she ever brought along? I don't understand who let her in to the Fire Force to begin with. She's just far too weak to be there. Like, she can't help the Infernals move on because she's too stupid. She can't fight anything because she's too weak. She can't do any information stuff because she's an idiot. So why was she even in the first company other than Captain Burns took pity on her? I genuinely do not know. Because I wouldn't have as much problem with her fan service if she wasn't such an incompetent character. I don't know how you could possibly write a character like that and then not think, this character isn't adding anything. Why don't I remove them? And so many times in stories, I would like a show so much better if the female character wasn't there at all, because I cannot do the fan service in the action in one episode. I just can't. I cannot focus on switching the tone back and forth like that, and I'm just like compelled to skip like half of the episode and miss half the stuff because I just don't want to see it. And I feel like that's the problem most of the time. The show would be better if the female character wasn't there. I feel like the whole not being able to write a female character though is a symptom of a bigger issue again, that they just can't write very well to begin with a lot of the time, because a lot of the times in shows where this takes place, they can't write very well. But I feel like the whole shonen female syndrome is a problem from author to author, because even some older shows, like I talked about Fairy Tail before and its tonal whiplash, but at least the female characters are sometimes useful. I mean, at this point, grasping at straws. But no, there are older shows that actually have decent female characters. I think Promised Neverland had decent character writing with female characters, because I feel like the actual creator was more focused on their story than doing some weird stuff like fan service. Of course, the creator couldn't do fan service in Promised Neverland because the female characters are too young to do it, because that would definitely be illegal, even in Japan. And I haven't finished all of Soul Eater, but I thought the female characters were decently written. Still had a fan service problem. What do you expect from the creator of Fire Force? Of course it was going to be fan service, but I guess his writing skills for female character decreased over the years. I don't really know what happened. And there are plenty of shonen shows, especially today, where the main female lead is actually competent, and some even don't have their boobs flying out every 2 seconds. Funny that, that's crazy. I just do find it both funny and frustrating that somehow anime creators mess up with female characters in the same way every time, and yet they still don't learn. I just find it absolutely hilarious, because I don't even know how that's possible. As a shonen fan, it really just is person to person, and my advice is to only pick and watch the shows that you can actually deal with and don't frustrate you because of the way the characters are written. Just like with everything else, if there's something you don't like, don't watch it. That doesn't mean that people shouldn't strive to improve the way that they write characters. Just don't force yourself to watch some stuff like Fire Force, because it's just not worth it. But I am going to finish the Fire Force manga probably because I hate myself. Anyway, that's it. Bye.